all, welcome back. If you've gone through video number 1 of the chase, hopefully your spreadsheet's starting to look a wee bit like that. We split the contestants up into 4 columns, the contributions up into 4 columns, but now we're going to have a little look at this mess at the end. Right then, if my cursor's out here, in other words, out with this, you'll notice you've got your normal ribbon at the top there, file home, up there. You might not have Power Pivot, that was just something extra added in. With every Microsoft application, there are always hidden parts of the ribbon in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, whatever. They don't put everything up there the whole time. However, as soon as I select a single cell within this table here, I then get table design and query, and we're looking for query. We've started with the Power Query Editor, but we want to go in and add a bit more. So we're going to go to Edit, and it should, all being well, relaunch your Power Query Editor. You'll notice as well, remember I said that we can reverse steps. So if we've done something, you think, oh, I want to fix that. I want to go back and reverse what we've done. All those applied steps are there. So even though we've closed and gone back into it, if we ever wanted to, we could reverse from the bottom up again. But I think we're okay. Right, and let's have a look at this. So, final chase result. So I think as I covered here, it's got a score, chaser versus contestant or contestant versus chaser. We'll work that one out in a minute. And then we've got either a time or an amount. Now, we want to get that into separate columns. And we need to, again, split by delimiter, but this way a bit different. We've got the option, if I just show you, oh, why is that going onto the screen? Don't know how to make that onto there. Let's see. We've got the option to split column by delimiter, number of characters, things like that. All things being equal, we could have said split by the first 5 characters. So we've got the score 18 / 18 5. However, if we go down to this column, column here, row here rather than column rather, 8/8, very low scoring game. So 5 characters isn't going to work. So what we'll do instead, we'll split in this occasion by the opening bracket. So right click, you'll get split column by delimiter. And we're going to have, it's guessed at a backslash. We're going to change that. It doesn't always get it right. So we change backslash to opening bracket. Leftmost, there is only one opening bracket, but we'll just for completeness and do that. And what you'll see, I'll just zoom along there a wee minute, is that if we split on that on that delimiter, it throws the delimiter away. And so we've got our full-time score, and then we've got the extra bits. So first things first, let's update that. We'll put final chase score. This makes sense. It'll make things easier for going through. And then we'll have a look at this. Now, within here, we've got times, we've got the amounts, the individual amounts everybody won. But we wanted to find out who was the most successful chaser, how much has been given away, and so on. So I think on this occasion, we don't really need to worry too much about the timings. So what we'll do to start with, let's get rid of that bracket. So what we'll do is we'll go right click, split column by delimiter. And in this case, oh, it's guessed good, the right hand bracket. So if I do that, you'll see we've then got another column. While it loads there we go. It's taken that bracket away. It split it into this new column. But of course, if you think about it, the bracket was the delimiter. So it's given us this sort of empty column. And all it's done really is remove that bracket. So we don't need that. If I click on there, down to remove. There we go. All right, then let's have a look here. So I think it'd be useful to know how many people, so look at this one here. So how many people in the final score, how many contestants were left and their individual winnings. So we can split that one on the cross. So again, right click, split column by delimiter, and in this case, go custom, put an X. Now, this is what we're left with. This is where we start using our brains a little bit. This one here has got all sorts within there, but the ones we're actually interested in, remember I said we don't really worry too much about the timings. We're just looking at, in this case, the number of contestants. So if I was then to go, these, remember, if everything's aligned left, it's text. And if you're not sure, you can just go into change type. If I was to change type to whole number, I'll show you what happens. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go change type, whole number, place current. Because, of course, the timings, the 0.07, that can't be turned into a whole number. So that then leaves us with just a number of contestants in the final. And we want to do something with the errors. Now, the errors obviously mean that the chaser won because there was a time there. So right-click, replace errors, and we're going to replace an error with a 0 because it means there was no contestants. There we go. I'm going to rename this column. You can either double-click or right-click down to rename, and I'll put number winners. There we go. Go slightly further. And each of these winners here have taken home a certain amount of money. So also on the nulls, now, I'm sure you're aware of this, null is not the same as 0. 0 is a specific amount. Null just means we haven't got any data. But if we want to find out how much was given away, be fairly straightforward maths. If we've got the number of winners and we know how much each of them won individually, we can find out how much was given away. Hopefully that makes sense. So for completeness, let's rename that. And we'll call that individual winnings. But now what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional column to find out the total winnings. So within the Power Query Editor, let's go up to Add Column. We'll choose this one here. It's called Custom Column. And what you're about to do is you're about to write a bit of code. Well, you're not. Excel's going to do it for you, but there is code going on in the background. So what we want is, let's name it. We'll put total winnings, and then we multiply the columns together. So we want number of winners, and then times, and for anyone who's not done anything like this before, the times of the asterisk, times individual winnings. So our total winnings is taken the number of winners, which we've worked out with a little bit of jiggery pokery, times the individual winnings. There we go. Let's just double check that the type's right. Just go down, right click, change type, and we'll make it obviously currency. Right then, let's go and look at the full-time score. We've got 18 out of 18, 20 out of 20, and so on. And we're going to split that up so we know what the chaser's final score was and what the contestant's final score was. Right then. And this obviously is when we go back to the best computer in the room, the one between your ears. The first 3 rows there, we have nothing there to suggest who won. But if we look at row 4, 20 out of 14, well, one of them is obviously the winning score. And on that one, there were 3 winners. So that would suggest then, wouldn't it, that if they won, 20 is the contestants and 14 is the chaser. Hopefully that made sense. So let's do that. We're going to split final score, or full-time score. Just go right-click, split column by delimiter, backslash. And we've got 2 now for final score. And as we've just worked out, that one there is the contestant. All right, yeah, and that one is the chaser. So let's rename. We'll have score contestant, score chaser. All right, so that's looking okay now. Not so bad at all. We'll go back to home, close and load. It takes what we've just done, puts it back into our Excel spreadsheet. We have individual winnings, total winnings, and so on. We've got 4 chasers. We've got Anne, Mark, Paul, and Sean. And it would be useful to know that how much was given away by each chaser. But what we want to do is, we want to know the total winnings here. If the chaser was Mark, add that into a column. Let's see how that works. Right. We'll go back into our Power Query. Could have stayed there, but I want you to see going backwards and forwards and so on. And we're going to add another column. Now this one is a conditional column. Anyone who's done if statements and things in Excel, it's a similar sort of idea. So what we'll do is, we'll start with Mark. So we'll call it Mark losses, because we're going to work out how much was given away when Mark was the chaser. So we're going to say if column name, and the condition is based on the chaser, so we need to find whether or not Mark is in there. So if column name chaser, now we've got various options. And excuse me, because the column with chaser in is saved as text, not number, we can search for specific strings within it. String, another word for text. So we can say if the column called chaser contains Mark. If we'd written if the column chaser equals, we would have had to write Mark Labette, because it would have to be absolutely exact. But in this case, they're all a bit different, so we can say contains, and then output. And I'll just show you, we've got 2 options there. We can output in Mark's losses a specific value, so we could output Mark. But in this case, what we want is, we want the actual amount that Mark has given away. So we're going to select a column. And the column being total winnings, because total winnings from the contestants is the same as what Mark's given away. Does that logic make sense? Press OK. So we've now got how much Mark's given away. Let's just repeat that for the others. So same again, add column, conditional column. We'll call this one Paul. Losses. We'll say if chaser contains, remember we're just looking for the word Paul. Paul. Then output column to winnings. Okay, so we're getting there. And then the other 2 we've got. We've done Mark and Paul. We just need Sean and Anne. So 2 more. Conditional column. Sean losses. If column name chaser contains Sean, then we're going to output the column total winnings. Sure, you're all experts by now, but let's do one for Anne. So we conditional column and losses. if column name chaser contains, in this case, an, then output column total winnings. All right. What we'll do is we'll just make sure that these are all change type to currency. If I haven't picked it up, all change type to currency. John, oops, going out of the screen, but you get the idea. Change type to currency, and get another screen, but change type to currency. All right. Load that back into your Excel. Now we've got a breakdown of what they've all lost. And of course, we could be totaling them up. I'm sure you all know how to do equal sum and so on, or filter by and so on. This was just a brief introduction to a little bit of data transformation. If you remember back to, have I got the original there? That was what the data looked like. Absolutely impossible to do anything with. So what we've done is we've gone through, we've taken air date, and we've removed that automatic timestamp that goes on. We split contestants into 4. Might be useful for another time. We can see which ones won the most. We've split the contributions up so we could actually use that column. And we've done all sorts with the final chase result. Okay, I hope that was all right and useful as an introduction into, we could then obviously make charts and things out of it, but I was just keen to show you how Excel Power Query actually worked. All right, thanks then, bye-bye now.